Sit!
Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss Dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Rich Dotson. He's Matt O'Hara.
Hey.
He's Garret Price.
How's it going?
And it's going good because I'm super stoked, dude. We're doing a mailbag episode. We had another show lined up for this, and we ended up scrapping it because we're doing it for a different show. And Garret was like, wow, dude, how do I fill this show in? And I'm like, this is perfect time. I said this like last week. Dude, let's do a mailbag show. So like, if you're a Nerd Herd member, we do a mailbag show once a month where we let the Nerd Herd ask us any questions they want at all, and we do them. And they're my favorite shows because they turn out to be some of the best shows we do. They're Nerd Herd shows. They bring up these random topics to start talking Dynasty and so many different aspects of Dynasty. And some of the conversations lead into, I know I go ranty on some of them, but like at the end, I'm like, wow, that was like some really solid like Dynasty advice. Like, or
I mean, you go off on a tangent?
Yeah.
Just give me a break, man. Come on.
It lets you like it puts you in a situation where you talk about the game we love so much. Like there's so many like shows that you listen to that are talking about players and points and statistics and deep dives. But like I love talking about like just the game itself too. Like the game, like the basic structure of the game and strategy of the game. Right. Like in the mailbag gives you that best opportunity to do things like that. And I said, I think it was in the last mailbag or the one before that. I was like, Garret, I'd really like to introduce some of these mailbag shows at the right times on the regular Dynasty Nerds podcast as well. Because we get so many questions in the Nerd Herd Discord anyways. Like we could probably do like 8 shows a week on them for how many questions we get with to narrow them down. But like they really are some of my favorite shows to do because it brings me back to the basics. It gives us a chance to sit around casually and talk Dynasty. And there's so much information and knowledge that you just accumulate over the years. And, you know, Matt and I have been playing for over 22 years of Dynasty. So there's so many situations that we've seen and come across and witnessed that, you know, make us better players. And, you know, why do you listen to most podcasts? It's, well, I guess you want to be entertained or like to learn something as well. So I love these shows so much. Thank you.
They're the best. Well, this is my first one, so let's get into it. I don't even know what to expect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first one. Every once in a while, we get some. Actually, most of the time, we'll get a random fun question in there. So let's start with a random fun question here. All right. Caden Yas 41 says, and maybe we'll each do one instead of all of us doing 3. But top 3 most underrated music groups / bands in your opinion. I need some new music to listen to. So let's each give one band or artist that we think's underrated that we would recommend.
Get that.
Well, dude, hold on. First of all, I got to preface this by saying on my Twitter account,
this is why I picked this one, Rich.
I just put out my top 100 albums of all time that are, in my opinion, the top 100 albums of all time. So I know music's subjective, and it's great because like some of my really good friends, like some of my best friends in the world, we have a side group chat and they loved it so much. They sent me their top 100 albums too. And now we're discussing it. We're cross-referencing. It's great on there. So I'm actually going to bring up my list of top 100 albums. Cause like, you know, the qualifier for that, I told my friends, like it has to be, the album has to be like a minimum 85% like great
Banger.
Like a banger, because there's so many albums where like there's 1 or 2 songs on it, but like the rest of it's like just okay. Right. And or there's like 2 great songs and then 2 good songs and the rest is just okay. That does not qualify for me. Unfortunately,
you got to be able to listen to it all the way through and feel good about it.
Yeah, and but even then, there's also not a lot of albums where like every single song is like no skips, right? And I'm biased. Like I think all like the first 5 Dave Matthews Band albums fall in that category for me for the most part. I think he's not underrated. I think Noah Khan's Stick Season falls in that category.
Totally agree.
First 2 Rage albums, Weezer Blue album, first 2 Dashboard albums.
You got to give us underrated though, Rich. You're giving us big names.
I'm gonna give you. Okay, I'm gonna let Matt. Do you have one? I'm looking.
Dude, that's what. So music is so subjective, and everyone's got different takes.
It is.
And feelings here. So I mean, and I even go through different phases myself. Like right now I'm stuck in the 80s somewhere. You know what I mean? I was just listening to Blondie earlier today, like all day long. I was listening to Blondie. And before that it was like the Cars. But I mean, I love like Arcade Fire, but all these guys are very, I think, known. So I'm trying to figure out, I love the Pretenders. Obviously a little connection here to Cleveland area with that 80s band.
If you don't know Noah Khan's Stick Season, it's over 20 songs, and that's really hard to do, to have no skips on 20 songs. I think that album is perfect.
They're all bangers. Yeah,
it's literally
guys. A guy that has a unique sound is like a Lord Huron type of guy. He kind of has like a
that made Josh's top 100 albums.
Lord Huron did?
Yeah, he sent it to me. He made. I don't know who that is for some reason. For somebody who like
it's got a pretty cool, just different vibe and sound to it. So Lord Huron, if you haven't heard of him, go check that guy out. It's got some good music. I'm trying to think of
cross-reference that to make sure that he did put it on there. Yeah, Josh has Lord Huron Strange Trails album in his.
It has like a strange, trippy kind of feel to most of his music, and it's something I just enjoy. Kind of. Not like I'm not like obsessed with him, but because I'm stuck in the 80s right now, I'm going to eventually get around to listen to a lot more of Lord Huron, I think. I'm
gonna give an obscure one now. This is one, if you it's like, it's a little bit of an emo vibe, kind of. It's indie rock, a little bit of emo vibe. I think it's a perfect album. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. It's about a band. They're no longer together. And their second album, Buzzard's really good as well. But the band's called Margot and the Nuclear So-and-Sos. They're from Minneapolis.
Margot's good.
Yeah, their first album, Dust and Retreat, to me is it's a perfect album. Like, it's so good. And then you go to follow-up album, there's a song called Broad Ripples Burning, which I thought for sure was in the first album. It's not, which is phenomenal. But like, and Buzzard's good, Telescopes is good, but like Dust of Retreat by Margot and the Nuclear So-and-Sos is obscure, but a fantastic album. One of my all-time favorites, to be honest with you.
You know what album I love and can listen to, cover, front to back is Arcade Fire, The Suburbs.
That made three. That wouldn't make my list, but the four guys we talked about. And what's funny, Matt? On my thing I'm listening to right now, because I told me to revisit. 3 of them had Arcade Fire, The Suburbs on there, and I didn't. So I was like, I'm gonna restart revisiting albums. That's the first one on my list. Working out today, I listened to 3/4 of it. Very good album. Like, I was listening to Arcade Fire, Suburbs today.
There's just something about that album that makes me just it brings me back to like when we were growing up, like as teenagers. For some reason, I don't know why it connects some weird dot in my brain. But it makes me feel so nostalgic and weird, even though it came out in 2010. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't when I was a teenager. Like the music wasn't around then, but the feel makes me it brings me back to that time. And that's what music does for me. Like, it's weird how music can transform you to like a different time and space in 100%. Your own memories. It's one of the best things about music to me.
Another emo bandish, like a little bit, kind of not too emo, but like that is kind of popular. You probably know their name, but if you've never checked out the album, Death Cab for Cuties, Transatlanticism, start to finish, front to back, perfect album. Like, again, perfect album, perfect.
I'll throw one out there. A band that I really like, King's Kaleidoscope. They're a very unique sound. Each song is going to be a little bit different, and similar to how like they don't sound like them, but similar to how Coldplay would just kind of like push the bounds of stuff and just like, what style is it? And they kind of use some trippy stuff in there. And then more people kind of started doing the same thing, and it became less unique. But this is one of those bands that does a lot of that kind of stuff where every song's a little bit different. It's not like you're listening, certain albums. It's like, didn't I just listen to that song? And it's like, they all kind of sound the same. Every song has a very different sound and vibe to it. So King's Kaleidoscope, Zeal's my favorite album of theirs, but Beauty, Between, and Beyond Control, also very good albums.
Man, dude. I told my buddies, I was like, dude, know what we should do? We should listen to all these albums. We should start a whole new podcast and just go through these albums and talk about it. There's a newer album, a band called Spanish Love Songs. Their album's called Brave Faces. Everyone, start to finish, perfect album. Perfect.
All right. We're 10 minutes in, so we should probably actually get to Dynasty Fantasy
okay.
now.
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
Boo. No one wants this right now.
I don't know if you ever heard of Tupac, but All Eyes on Me is pretty damn good.
Pretty good.
Put on her line.
All right. Owen asks, what are some player names that you would consider to trade to a contender for their late 27 first? So let's throw out some names of players that we think would actually get a deal done. Like, hey, I'll give you this guy because I'm rebuilding and I want your 27 first. So here's some names that you would be willing to throw out there to do that.
Travis Hunter, we talked about yesterday.
Yeah.
Somebody,
there's any hope.
Yeah. I guess so it depends on need, right? So like at receiver, like him, Michael Pittman. I don't want to throw like older guys out there just because like it makes sense. Oh, Terry McLaurin, right? Because it's weird because we talk about the draft class being weaker. If you're contending, these are guys you're going to want to go by because
this team's rebuilding. He's trading to a contender.
He's rebuilding.
He's rebuilding. He wants to get it first. He's trying to. I mean, so it's going to really depend on his team. Which it's going to depend on his team.
But I would say, would you guys do right now? Would you do AJ Brown? Would you be willing to give him up just for a late 27 first or no?
For a late 27 first?
Right. That's what the question is. Who would you give up to get a late 27 first? Would you give up AJ Brown?
Okay, I thought you were talking 26. So I was like,
27.
27? Yeah, if I'm rebuilding, 100% because he's going to hold no value to you in 27. He'll be 30 years old at that point. Yeah, AJ Brown falls into that category of like.
And I think that's one that might actually get done too.
Yeah, I think so too. So you switch. So what you got to think is you're rebuilding. You know, AJ Brown turns 27 in about 4 or 5 months.
AJ Brown is 28.
Sorry. Yeah, which you're 29 here in about 5 months. AJ Brown fits in that category where like somebody's getting a couple of years out of him, but he doesn't do you any good. So get him off your roster helps a little bit there.
I think do Dak, or is that not enough for Dak?
Listen, Dak's already like a depleted prospect. Here's the sad news about Dak. He's worth more than that, but that's the best offer you're probably going to get. And by the time 27 comes around, he was going to be 35 years old. Like he doesn't suit your team needs. My problem with Dak is guys like, and I know this because I had him in season for a league. I know this from 100% fact, at least for the league I was in. It's not 100% fact. For my reality is like, we've talked about this on the Nurture show a couple times too, Garrett. Like Dak is one of those players that like, I don't know when it hit, but like people just don't really want to go out there and give up what his value really is. So, you know, what is value? A value really it comes down to is like what anybody's willing to pay. So you could say here, we could all agree that Dak's worth more than a late 27 first. I think that the odds of you getting more than that, like maybe a second on top, are slim to none, right? Like that's a fact. So it kind of comes down to, do you want to sit around and wait for fair value, or do you want to get what you need, which is that 27 first, right? Because Dak doesn't.
And the 27 first is not going to be getting cheaper. It's only going to be getting more expensive.
And Dak's only going to hurt. Like Dak hurts you if you're in rebuild because he's going to score a lot of points.
Too many points. Yeah.
So it does suck. Like if I'm doing that, like I think Dak fits it. I think Dak could probably get the 27 first and maybe like an upsider, like maybe a Shadur Sanders, you know, some along those lines, maybe a Brandon Ayuk, like something stupid on top. Like you don't love.
Just like a lottery ticket type, like something no one's going to really
Devin
miss.
Neal. Maybe he keeps the job.
Yeah, 100%. I would be interested in, could I move? I'm trying to think of like,
would you guys move like a Jaylen Waddle? I mean, he's 27 in 2 months right now. So next year he's gonna be 28 in 2 months. So it's not like he's like a borderline guy, right? Like if you're rebuilding, he might still be there for like another year, and you might have actually added value next year because you know Tyreek is gone, and he's kind of the guy for another year.
But
so is
I don't think it helps you now if you're rebuilding. Like if your target years, you're trying to get 27 first to take that step forward. I don't think Jaylen Waddle fits that mold. So I think I would take that. I think anybody 27 years old and older, and I'm in rebuild mode. I think it's a broader way to say it, right? If you're 27 years older now, today on February, whatever today's date is, if you're 27 years old right now, which means you'll probably be late 27 to 28 years old when the season starts, I would take a random 27 first if I'm entering that rebuild mode. And let's just stay it like that's the best I can get, right? Like let's just
that's Devontae Smith. We're talking, he's the exact same age basically as Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking T. Higgins. He's 27 years old right now. Yeah. I mean, T. Higgins,
I think what Garrett said too, like that first round pick isn't going down in value. And I guess it has to be super flex tight end premium as well to be just some rate. If it was just PPR, I probably wouldn't do some of those names because it changes everything. But I think this draft class, me and Garrett kind of talked this on the Nerd Show, Matt, like that class in 27, there's already 2 guaranteed stud receivers in Cam Coleman and Jeremiah Smith, studs. One high upside guy in Ryan Williams. Guys like Garrett knows that will come up. We talked about 3 running backs. There are 5 quarterbacks right now. And listen, that could change a lot, but 5 quarterbacks. So even as a late first, either you're getting a positional player that you really like a lot at 111, 112, or you're getting a top 20 quarterback on your roster, top 15, probably top 15 quarterback. It'll probably be one of those drafts where you get like 5 guys that go in the top like 12 to 13, pretty much the Bo Nix year, right? Like,
right. Yep.
Look at those guys. So like, can you imagine like, let's throw the last guy in there essentially. And I know JJ's in that class and Penix is in that class and we don't know, but like you got Bo Nix at 112, like what a home run, like over Jaylen Waddle, AJ Brown that are now 29 years old. So for me, part of playing Dynasty is like, you got to think ahead, right? Like it's why you're the GM. Like, where's my team going to be once you decide to enter rebuild mode? You're thinking 2 years out, right? They really kind of take a step forward. So you want to draft as much, and that's why you need a lot of draft capital to kind of help propel that. Otherwise, if you try to do it year by year, it's going to be way harder. So blowing up your team at the right time is so important because that's when you can sell AJ Browns for first, Jaylen Waddles for first, and Devontae Smith for first. So say those are your 3 receivers. Like, I'm blowing up. Now you just got 3 first. Or maybe Jaylen Waddle, you had to make somebody, he was hard to move. You had to give like your 26 second and Jaylen Waddle for a 27 first. Just throwing it out there. Like, say you had to like, but once you commit to blowing it up, like you got to blow it up, right? You got to get these assets off your roster, or play that gamble of like, okay, I can hold on to this guy till in season and get that first for sure, right? Like, which I think Jaylen Waddle might be able to do that. Like something like I can only give you a second. Like I'd rather hold on than Jaylen Waddle and hold for the first. So I think when you see it, when you can identify a class, it's going to be super strong. And you're like, hey, today I'm going to lose that trade. It's not about today for you. It's about 2027 for you. And I guarantee you when you're sitting there, even if it's say it's pick 110, I can say pretty confidently when you're on the clock at 110, you're going to be so glad that you had that player now that almost a year and a half ago you made a move for, than AJ Brown, than Devontae Smith, and even going back to a Dak Prescott.
3 more names I'll throw into that group that I'd be totally fine doing that for. Kyren Williams, Josh Jacobs, Javonte Williams. I think all 3 of those guys are players that could net you a first, a late first in 27 that I think a contender would like to have. So 3 other names.
I'm going to throw 2 more names into that I want to hear your guys' opinion on because they're up quite a bit higher, but I think they're falling in a similar age range where I want to see where you guys land with them. And one, James Cook, 26-year-old running back. You guys good making that move for just a first, or you feel like you get more?
Get more.
I think you can get more.
Yeah, I would not be good with that. I need more for James Cook.
Good. That's how I felt. I went up quite a bit, and I was like, I just want to test the water here with a couple of guys to make sure the audience knows kind of where the cutoff is. Even though we're talking broad stroke kind of age range stuff. Nico Collins, 26 and 10 months right now. So he's almost 27. Next year, he's going to be 27, almost 28. Would you take just a first for him if it's at 27 first?
If I'm blowing up my team, no, I wouldn't just say. I think I would need a little bit more. He's a gamble injury. Yeah, and I think you can get that plus in season for him if he's down a little bit now. But like, he's the kind of player like I would want. Like, I want another player on top. I want that 27 first and the upside guy, like a younger guy. I don't care if it's Wan'Dale Robinson. It could be like I prefer Ricky Pearsall. Pretty much guys we just talked about last show, like Jayden Higgins, Ricky Pearsall. Like I would love that deal. Like here's Nico Collins. Give me your 27 first and Ricky Pearsall. Give me Jayden Higgins and your 27 first for Nico Collins.
All right. Let's get to the next one here. Chance D. Leon says, should I sell CJ Stroud at a discount on a contender for a more stable quarterback like Jared Goff or Matthew Stafford? Matt, what do you think?
I mean, CJ Stroud has looked pretty rough here coming for this past season. I think I'd be okay with Goff. I mean, I'm not doing Matthew Stafford. There's questions about Stafford's whether or not he's even. Yeah, he's too old. Like, is he going to come back? Probably. Like, he's probably going to come back for one more season, but I doubt it's going to be 3 more seasons. You know what I mean? Like, so I would rather have what's his name there? But Goff, there's got to be a huge age gap there too.
He's only 31, I think.
31 and 24 for CJ Stroud. So I guess it's not. I mean, it's 7 years. I mean, it's a legit 7 years.
CJ Stroud have 7 years.
What'd you say?
CJ Stroud have 7 years.
That's a great question. Yeah, who knows? So I would be okay with the Goff move. I would not be okay with
what it's worth.
Stafford.
For what it's worth, Goff is already ahead of Stroud in my rankings. Dak Prescott is ahead of Stroud in my rankings. This is where it gets a little bit spicy and people might not love it. So you guys tell me what you think. I have Sam Darnold ahead of CJ Stroud in my rankings. And I have Daniel Jones ahead of CJ Stroud in my rankings. What do you guys think?
I'm going to bring up my rankings and see if I agree or disagree.
It's a little spicy. I think Daniel Jones being above him is a little spicy just because the injury and everything. I think he looked good. I think Sam Darnold's justified. The dude's look really, really good here now with the last 2 stops. So it's not even just a one, hey, he's in this system and it's the only one that's going to work for him. I mean, obviously the question is who the heck is Seattle going to get as an offensive coordinator? Because it was a similar system, not the exact same system, but a very similar system with Kubiak there. So that's a major question, I think, going forward for Sam Darnold. It'll be one more thing that he's got to answer again. So I feel kind of bad for him in that respect, but I think he's matured as a player. So I'm okay with him being ahead of a guy like CJ Stroud, who's, other than one really, really good season, he's looked average and then kind of struggled. You know what I mean? So it's, I'm all right with Sam Darnold. I'm not giving up on CJ Stroud. I think, if Sam Darnold can teach us anything, it's that you shouldn't give up on these guys. But for now, I think you have to rank them accordingly.
Yeah, I think I agree with Matt on everything that he literally just said on those guys. Fair if you want to be nervous. He's still only 24 years old. Even if he got off Houston, somebody else would give him a chance, but he has and listen, we've been beating this with like a dead horse. Like we've been saying to sell CJ Stroud after his rookie year. I think, if you're a Nerd member, you've been listening to us. A lot of people try to tell us we're idiots, but like we've been saying sell CJ Stroud for 2 years now, and that he was the most overrated ADP quarterback out there. Doesn't mean he's not an NFL starter, obviously, like he is, but like from a fantasy football standpoint, like he's just not the guy you want on your roster to win championships. Like you do so much better. And a guy like Sam Darnold, here's the thing with Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is CJ Stroud kind of, like good enough, or like obviously Sam Darnold's in a position where he can win a Super Bowl on Sunday, but like from a week in, week out basis, I think him and CJ Stroud are pretty similar. So like I might just take the youth there. Now, if he wins the Super Bowl, I feel pretty more secure about Sam Darnold's longevity on the Seahawks than I do about Stroud on the Texans. I guess is a better way to say it. But I think from a fantasy football output, I think they're pretty equal. Daniel Jones with Achilles, I just can't do it until I see him come back. But I'm totally okay with everybody else you said.
So just for reference, CJ Stroud, 14 games, 15.5 points per game this past year. Sam Darnold, 17 games, 14.7 points per game. So they are pretty close on a points per game basis.
Tell everybody where Daniel Jones is at.
Hold on. I got to keep going up. I got to keep going up. It's 18.
Yeah. And listen, if it wasn't for the injury, I would easily, if you told me,
I think that's why I'm trying to make that move if I have CJ Stroud, because I think because of the injury, I can get probably plus on top. And I don't, even with the injury, Achilles, we'll see how it is for quarterbacks, but for the most part, I'm not needing him to make severe cuts and things like that at the quarterback position. Can he go straight forward, like when he needs to run and scramble? That's really all I need to know. I think he's still going to be able to throw. And with the Colts giving up their first 2-round picks, I honestly think Daniel Jones is one of, if not the best, like discounted quarterback to buy right now.
No, I'm just worried about like somebody else comes in to Indy and second builds their, like he has an offense. It's a good offense. And like they got to give Daniel Jones a little bit time, and that quarterback just looks good. So they stick with him. And then Jones is kind of like buried a little bit because of that situation.
The stuff that I last show when I mentioned Daniel Jones and was asking about his Achilles injury, I didn't get a chance to mention it, but it does sound like he'll be back close to training camp start time. Like the thought is that's kind of his timeline. So it might not even get a chance for someone else to get off the ground, I guess is the point. As long as he re-signs, like there's a lot up in the air with Daniel Jones. He's got to re-sign there. He's got to make it back in time for camp. But it sounds like all this stuff is realistic, or at least plausible.
I would need I would need a plus. Like I would just, because otherwise I'd just rather go ahead and like wait and hope CJ Stroud starts a year like okay, like all three other receivers, they get a really good running back in free agency. They go back and rely on the run game like how they had with Joe Mixon. Because I think Wiggy Mark's just a guy, so they go back to a strong
Joe Mixon might not even play, dude.
No, not with like one of these free agent running backs. Okay. So I'm saying like they bring in, they have a lot of cap. Like I was talking to Garrett, like I think Breece Hall would be a fantastic fit in this offense, right? Like I think Houston signs one of these big time free agent running backs. I think they get one of the good ones, and they go back to that main run scheme because they have a really good run scheme out there in Houston, and that helps CJ a little bit. And then I'm selling CJ there. Is my point. Daniel Jones, I guess. I'm still out. I mean, I've been out on CJ Stroud forever. So like, yeah, of course I would take a lot of things.
I get what you're saying, but Daniel Jones is already 4 points per game better this year than CJ Stroud. Like, even if he regresses, is he worse than CJ Stroud? I don't think he is.
But like, I just want to see how that all plays out. Like there's a chance Michael Pittman's on the team next year. And then if not, Alec Pierce is off the team. So like, injury.
I don't think both guys are going to be gone. They're going to find a way to keep.
No, I know for sure. One of those guys will be gone, though, for sure. Like one of those guys will be gone. So just a lot of question marks with that one. And listen, like I said, I'm former president / secretary, now band member of the Daniel Jones fan club. So yes. Next question, please.
All right, Powerfold 98 says, how much does a 10-team league change your quarterback rankings for Superflex? In a Superflex league, 10 teams, there's so many more quarterbacks to go around. In the rookie draft, would Mendoza still be your 102? And I'll kind of take this one to start. 10-team Superflex is drastically different for me than 12-team. I know it's only 2 teams difference, but Mendoza goes not only to definitely 105, there's a chance if there's a Sadiq that I fall in love with, there's a Denzel Boston that really moves up boards because he's a first round pick. That I could even see myself going one of those guys ahead. So for me, it's not quite one QB level, but it's like,
I was going to say
it's somewhere. If there was a dead middle between 12 team super flex and one QB, that's how I would value the quarterback, is like dead middle of that. So like if a quarterback, like we were talking before, is Dak Prescott maybe only worth one first in a league like that? I don't think I could pay a first for a Dak Prescott. I would want to pay an early second. So I think it's somewhere halfway of the value between,
which is a first, and early second is pretty much a first in most leagues.
Sure. But just depending on how the league works out. So,
I mean, that was the perfect explanation. And I'm glad you went to the one, it's not the same as a one QB, because in my brain, it was exactly where my head was going. I was like, it's not quite a one QB in my estimation. So I feel like, you nailed it there with kind of like the halfway. Maybe it's anywhere from 1.5 to 1.7, I think, is where Mendoza would probably slot in, right? It sounds like, depending on league need, like if no one needs a quarterback, he might just keep kind of dropping down to seven range, somewhere around there. But yeah, that's a tricky one. 10-team leagues, man.
Yeah, so it comes out to,
I never really think about them because I don't play in any of them. So I'm glad that question got brought up, because it makes you kind of rethink everything that you kind of have as a prior in your brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm in one 10-man league. Like I have you, and it changes. Like even that league, it's harder to move quarterbacks because it really comes down to like supply and demand. That's like everything. That's why certain positions are so valuable. When you're in a 12-man league, every team in the league can't have 3 starting quarterbacks. It's just not mathematically possible. Where in a 10-man league, 2 teams can have 4 NFL starting quarterbacks on their roster. And then it's like overkill a little bit. So that hurts it. And then especially, I talked about this on the Nerd Show. So last week, I'm actually getting excited to talk about it on this show. Now, I'll bring it back up when the rookie time to come in effect as well. Is Mendoza right now is, the only really good quarterback in this NFL draft. He's going to go 1-1 overall. He's a very solid quarterback. I mean, he just won Indiana National Championship. And I talked about before, like when you're playing Dynasty, you kind of got to think ahead, right? Like you got to kind of plan out, like not just this year, but the year after, how it's going to play out. Mendoza, who I think has a very chance to be a really good, solid NFL quarterback, like he's not getting the guys I trust the most, like these NFL scouts that I read, aren't saying like he's like an elite prospect, right? Like he's a good prospect, but he's an elite prospect. So where you can get, if you have a top 3 pick in Superflex and Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson and Mekhi Lemon are on the board, do you want to take those guys there and say you have like pick 1-4, 1-3 in that range and go ahead and take the receiver? Even Mendoza's on the board there, because next year, I just mentioned 27, there's 5 so far supposed to be really good quarterbacks there. And most of them are all ranked higher than Mendoza. Guys like Julian Sayin, guys like Lenore Sellers to step up, Dante Moore, Arch Manning, right? Like, so why take Mendoza when you get Carnell Tate and then next year come around and get one of those 5 quarterbacks and feel really good about it? He's a higher graded prospect as it is. So yeah, with 10-man leagues, like it changes everything because everything's harder to move because everybody's got more abundant. Like me and Garrett, when we do roster rescue, it looks like that all the time. Like there's so many teams that look so good on paper in 10-man leagues because it's so easy to build a powerhouse.
So let me ask you this: in a 10-man league, is the move to make it one of these crazy triflex leagues that we've heard about in the past?
So. I think so. If it's 10-man league, you should definitely make it a triflex, superflex league. Shout out to Curtis Patrick and RotoViz for that. So
right,
yeah, for sure. And listen, where do you find those RotoViz triflex leagues? MyFFPC.com.
MyFFPC.
That's where they're at. That's where you find them. They're called triflex. Super triflex RotoViz, like crazy leagues on there. And that's what my FFPC gives you. They give you so many different options to play Dynasty fantasy football. And not only give you so many options from league structure, right? Say, you play in a PPR league and, super flex, but all your people that don't want to play super flex because they're like, dude, that's stupid, right? Or, double tight end premium. They don't want to play. They think it's stupid. And you can't just join a new Dynasty league because you don't have the people to join. My FFPC has all of those leagues for you and all the price points from $75 to $5,000 leagues, right? Same counterpoint. You play in a ton of leagues and you put a ton of time in and you love the game, but you can't find anybody that has, say you are the president of your company and you make bank. God bless you. You're doing well. But all your friends are just regular Joes and they're just making a decent living, but they don't have enough money to join a $3,000 Dynasty league, laying around. They got kids to feed, but you have the extra income to do it and you really believe in your skill set. They have that for you. And what's awesome about my FFPC right now is that they have their orphans and they're releasing them as drops. So they don't release all their orphans all as once. They do it every week or so. They're dropping these teams. So some really good teams. And there's some teams that are rebuild teams, but are heavily discounted, right? So you may have to get in that $3,000 league and you get in that league for $1,000. And the team's like, yeah, I could do something with this. I believe in this, right? They got the 1-1. I'm getting Jeremiah Love. I'm trading, and they got Nico Collins. I'm moving him. They got this player here. I'm moving him for value, and I'm going to compete in 2027. They have all that for you. And I love the orphans. They got new leagues. And my favorite thing about my FFPC is it's the safest place to play Dynasty. The safest, because it's the only place you can go that I know of where 100% you can join a league and have zero fear of it folded. Zero. Because any other league, you could be a league with your homies, right? And then, you get a new haircut and they think your haircut's stupid and the league breaks up. And that's it. Not in my FFPC. They can't even see your hair unless you make it your profile picture. So check them out. Use that promo code NERDS. If you use the promo code NERDS, they're going to give you a free $25 off of any league. So same thing. If you join a $3,000 league, hey, it's a little bit less than 1%. But if you join a $75 league, we just saved yourself 33% discount, bro. Promo code NERDS. Check them out, myffpc.com.
And we got to mention FastDraft, their Origin tournament. Guys, there's a 50-50 chance if you enter an Origins tournament right now, you'll be playing against me because I'm in there all the time. Partly because right now, it's a great time to get in there because people are still drafting guys that are not even in this class. People are still taking Dante Moore at times. They're still taking Justice Haynes and Eric Singleton and John Mateer, guys that literally will be a 0 on the score for them because they're not even in this class. Now is the best time to get in at FastDraft. Join an Origins tournament. We're right around the corner from talking all kinds of rookies. And if you've been listening to Draft Nerds, we've been covering them consistently. So head on over there. FastDraft. It's an app. It's an amazing app. It's best ball, but you can just focus on rookies. They have other tournaments as well. They have a Super Bowl tournament and all that kind of stuff. But the best thing there, in my opinion, if you're a Dynasty fan, is those Origin tournaments. It's just 6 rookies. That's all you're doing. You're just drafting 6 rookies, and you're hoping your 6 rookies outscore everyone else's 6 rookies. There's little bonuses that you can give them in the top spot versus the bottom spot. It's an absolute blast. Head on over there, FastDraft app. Use promo code NERDS. When you do that, we give you a free year of Dynasty Nerds. So not only can you win a bunch of money because people are dumb and draft players that aren't even eligible to be drafted, but you can also get a free year of everything that we do at Dynasty Nerds. That is a $70 value. You're getting absolutely free. They'll also double your deposit when you use promo code NERDS. I can't think of a better deal. Head on over there today. FastDraft app. Use promo code NERDS. All right. Next mailbag question here. J-Dog, I think this is a good question because I think this is a situation that a lot of teams find themselves in. And it's kind of a long question, so I'm just going to summarize. Basically, what he's saying is, I'm in a rebuild situation, but nobody wants to sell the 27 class. Everyone knows it's good, so I can't get any firsts in 27, and it's even difficult. I have to overpay to get seconds. What should I do in that type of scenario where I'm trying to rebuild, but I can't get 27 picks?
Simple. And Garrett, another topic we just talked about in the Nerd Herd. Target 28 first and get the 28 first plus the 28 second. And you're in rebuild. It's fine. And, I asked Garrett about it, and he told me, and I brought it back up on that show because he told me about it. All signs are pointing the 28 class is going to be a really good class as well, like a very good class as well. So we always talk about these first don't go down in value for the most part. And maybe 26 did now just a little bit, but they'll go back up after NFL draft comes anyways. The 28 class is supposed to be very strong. And I feel you, man. And there's a lot of leagues now. And even I mentioned this on another show, like there's very casual players catching up to 27 class. Matt, there's a player in our OG class, who he is, who's not a very savvy dynasty player. And honestly, not even very like that knowledgeable and dives that deep into it. He plays because we've known him forever and he's just in the OG league. And I tried to get his 27 first and threw him a pack. He's like, I don't think I'm trying to give up on my 27 picks. It's supposed to be a very strong class. So if he knows, that's it. It's officially over. Like the jig's up.
When you told me he knew, I knew something was up. This is all right. Everyone knows that there's nobody under a rock that hasn't heard about this stuff basically at this point.
Yeah. So you have to pivot. And if you're in rebuild mode, that 28 first will hold a lot of value for you. Not even just 28 from here until 28. Because once this class gets drafted, now it's only, 2 years away, which is a long time. But when the season comes along and gets into it, it did no different than trading for 27 first last year, right? You will be able to use that 21st if need be. But the most important thing is, as you have these high picks and you get into 27, if you're ready to pivot at any point, that pick will gain value every single month that passes by. Then you can use that pick to acquire what you need for the next rebuild team and for the team as that hype starts to build for that class. Garrett, I didn't hear show you were mentioning players from that 28 class as well. So yeah, you're right. I think a lot of people are going to find themselves in this predicament where from pretty much now going forward, as soon as the calendar ticked over to 26, because now it is 2026, so 27's only 11 months away. It's going to be that much harder to get 27 picks. And, the fact that ESPN, all these draft gurus are saying this 27 class is going to be generational, that window is out, is kind of closed. And it's why, on this podcast, we were talking a year and a half ago about acquiring 27 picks. We knew, the class was building. We kind of had a, good idea that class was going to be really strong that long ago. I mentioned this show that over a year ago, I'd already pivoted and moved a lot of my 26 picks and some 25 picks for 27 first. And I mentioned the one where it backfired, specifically in our OG league, where they end up being a 1-1, but that's the only league it backfired in. So you got to go ahead and target the next class. It's not 26 you want, it's 28. So get those 28 picks and be patient. This is a game. It's a short window, but it's also a long game that we play. And when we play these 2 to 3 year windows, 28 class falls right in that category. And those are the picks you want to acquire.
Yeah. And to summarize your point, Rich, you wouldn't want to take a 27 second, right? And overpay for that 27 second when you could just get a 28 first. That 28 pick is valued correctly now, and it's only going to go up as time goes by. I think that's the biggest thing to take away from this. Don't settle for 27 seconds that you have to overpay for when you can just get normal value and get a first a year later. That first round draft picks value will only increase over time.
And I like to also look for what are depressed assets. If everybody's zigging, where can I zag? So what's going to happen when we get closer to the draft? Picks are exciting, but players are less exciting. Those veterans are less exciting. Just because you're in a rebuild doesn't mean you can't target a 23-year-old, rookie or second-year player. Doesn't mean you can't target some of these younger guys, some of these quarterbacks that you still believe in. Use the last show, some of these statistics to say, okay, what guys do I need to eliminate and what guys have a better shot of succeeding now because I know some of this information. So that's what I like to do. I'm trying to use the seasonality of things. If people really do start to get that down on the 26 class, then maybe I'll try to get into the 26 class because there will still be some value there. Maybe not as high as other places, but I'm looking, where can I get the most for my dollar? You know, where is my dollar going to get me the most value? Because that's what you need when you're in rebuild. You need value. You need to exponentially grow the value of your team. So that's where I'm looking to do it. Where are things that are depressed now that I think have the best shot to increase in value later? That's why 28 assets are great, because we know that there's a very, very strong likelihood that those assets increase in value. Are there, Daniel Jones, I just talked about him. I know he's not super exciting on a rebuild, but do I think that there's a good chance that his value bounces back higher than it is today? I think there's a pretty good value in that. And even if he's not part of my rebuild, I can flip him then 4 picks down the road when we get in season and a team needs a quarterback. So that's what I'm looking to do, is I'm looking to increase my value. How can I get the most for my dollar right now? All right. In a super flex startup, and this guy said he's asking for a friend because he's actually in the super flex startup that I'm in right now. AJ Brown or the 105 in a startup? Would you rather have, because picks are in there. So would you rather have the 105? In theory, it's either Mendoza or the last of the 3 receivers. Or would you rather have AJ Brown? Who am I other receiver?
It's the Superflex startup.
Superflex.
And you think Mendoza's still? You think Mendoza's going to be there at 5 in a 12-team league?
Probably not. I think it'll likely be the last of the 3 receivers. Is what I think will likely it will most likely be.
And what are those 3 receivers that we're talking about right now? Tate,
Tyson, and Lemon.
Okay.
All guys expected to be top 20 picks.
See, I mean, it's hard in a startup because, like, it depends where my team's going. Like, if my first couple picks, like, I started to build a team to contend, like, I'm taking AJ Brown.
Right.
Like, if I'm shaking and baking a little bit, like I build a young team, like, I'm going to go ahead and take the 105 for sure.
Agree with that. That's, I think, the right answer. I don't think there needs to be too much more added on top of that one, because it is going to come down to competition because they're both good assets, but very different assets.
Yes. And yeah, that was the exact thing I was going to say. How did your build go? Because by that point, you kind of know, you're in the 5th, 6th, 7th round in that range. You're kind of already knowing what direction you're going by that point. Usually, by end of round 3, you know what direction you're going. So rebuild or productive struggle, whatever, I'm going with the pick. If I'm trying to win it off the rip, though, AJ Brown's a great value at that point. So I do think it depends on what direction you're going to go. All right. Of course, now I lost the question, so I'll give them. Oh, there it is. Up North 97 says, based on their sophomore campaigns, rank Drake Maye, Jayden Daniels, and Caleb Williams moving forward. And what would you need on top of one to trade for another one? So basically, how are we ranking these guys, and how big is the gap between them?
Ooh. I mean, obviously, right now, I think Drake Maye is the top guy, right? I mean, like, that's pretty easy.
I think so.
And Jayden Daniels conversation comes down to, can this dude stay healthy? Yeah. Right. I mean, if he stays healthy, he's the number 2 guy pretty easily on this list as well. And there isn't, I think, a lot of separation between him and Drake Maye. But the fact that there is injury issues puts a wrench in things, because Caleb Williams did perform so well. He was quarterback 7 last season, or that's on a points per game basis. He was quarterback 5 last year during the whole season. So he also really kind of balled out and looked great in that Ben Johnson offense. So for me, man, this is a harder one to break down. Jayden Daniels is going to be working on a whole new offensive coordinator. I'm almost talking myself into putting Caleb Williams ahead of him. But so this is a very good question because it's hard to answer. I'm still probably sticking with Jayden Daniels just with the rushing upside as the number 2. but I think it's very, very close. And then there's a gap and then May for me.
Okay. What about you, Rich?
Yeah. So to me, it goes Drake Maye, Jayden Daniels, Caleb Williams. I think Drake Maye is a clear cut number one here. And then Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels are pretty close as it stands now, because, and you're right, like Jayden Daniels is my 1-1 12 months ago. And for me, you're right. New offensive coordinator, a really old roster. Who's the wide receiver 2 there? There's a lot of question marks, staying healthy. I still believe in Jayden Daniels, so I would take Jayden Daniels over Caleb Williams, but I don't think as a trade wise, like you should have to give anything on top at all. I mean, because Caleb Williams could easily surpass Jayden Daniels this year with another very strong 2026 season in Ben Johnson's offense with all those weapons. So like, to me, those are just pick your poison kind of players. Even though I would pick Jayden Daniels, which is, it's kind of like reverse back to like when they were rookies in the rookie draft. Like I felt about them like, hey, if I'm in 10 leagues, in 5 of them, I'm taking Jayden, another 5, I'm taking Caleb Williams. Now to get Drake Maye, I think the question for this is, what do you have to give on top of those guys to get Drake Maye? Because we'd all want Drake Maye, right?
We'd all want Drake Maye. I think the right answer is you shouldn't, because
yes,
what somebody's going to want is going to be outrageous. And there's a very real world where either one of those guys gets dangerously closer, could even potentially surpass Drake Maye. And this is coming from a Drake Maye truther. Like, I don't know that there was anybody higher on him this offseason than me. So I don't think you should give anything to get to Drake Maye. I do want to rewind slightly, because Rich, I was all in to say Jayden Daniels number 2. I was like, that's pretty easy for me. But the more I thought about it, and Matt, you're right, the injuries scare me. Uh-huh. And when it's that high value of a player, I do like to play it safe. Like, I don't like to play it risky. I think because of that, I might be willing to take Caleb ahead of Jayden Daniels, just because I do worry that the injury bug is just going to be too much for him.
But like, again, if you're in like 4 leagues, you would definitely get some Jayden Daniels shares, just because like the upside so
sprinkle it in. I think it would be like 7-3 though.
Okay. But that's fair. I mean, again, enough where you're like considering it, you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Right?
It gives me like the upside there, but I want to play it safe overall.
And that's the thing. If you have Drake Maye, like, you're not get like, you can't be like, hey, I'll give you Caleb Williams in a second. You're gonna be like, dude, no, kick rocks. Like, I would
ask for a first. Now, if I could get Caleb in a first, I might be willing to give up Drake Maye.
Oh, dude, it'd be sexy time. Yeah, it would get out there. It would be all greased up. We'd be making things happen.
The first round draft pick was the only thing I could think of that would move the needle enough to do a Drake Maye for either one of those guys. So I'm with you on that one.
Okay, I want to go back to this. I want to ask this, because this is a player that is, dude, he's been heavily debated in these categories. I offer you Caleb Williams and AJ Brown for Drake Maye.
If I'm a contender, I would do it.
I think if I was a contender, I would do it for contender too.
Yeah. Who did the Eagles hire as their offensive coordinator? I keep losing track of that one for some reason.
Wasn't the guy from Green Bay?
Was it?
I don't remember. It wasn't a big name.
You guys have also lost track of it. I like it. All right, at least I'm not the only one. It wasn't
a big name. I think it was the quarterback's coach from Green Bay or something like that.
Can I throw one more out before we get to the next question?
Sure.
This one's to Garrett.
Okay.
You have Drake Maye and you love him. You're like his stepdad.
I have a lot of them.
Is it Sean Mannion, by the way?
Yes. The former quarterback.
Former Chicago Bear quarterback?
Former quarterback.
Okay, Garrett, back to your stepdad issues. You have Drake Maye. I offer you Jayden Daniels and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, I would do it.
Too risky.
It's so risky though.
Risky. Not risky. Risky with a key.
But it balances out the riskiness that it's like I get 2 shots at the gun instead of just one. I think that's why I'd be willing to do it.
All right. Yeah. All right. Cool. I'm wondering what you would say. Would Matt?
Yeah.
You do
I think I would do that. I would do that.
I would do that one. Yeah. I'm not completely out on Marvin Harrison.
Neither am I.
I think he showed some things last year.
Isn't it like one of those deals you make and afterwards you go, man, this better freaking work.
Yeah. Before you even hit send, you're like, your fingers shaking. You're like, should I do it? Yes.
You ever get those deals where like dude, I technically I'm winning this deal and I still hate it. Like I just like this player's like when you get those offers that are like you have a player that's a stud, like Drake Maye, right? Like he's like your 1-1 and Super Bowl, and then somebody sends you an offer. You're like, dude, this is an overpay. And you're like, it's an overpay. And everything, like you put out there everywhere in the universe, are like, you have to accept this. And you're like, but I don't want to.
I don't want to do it. This is my team. I can do what I want.
I don't want to. Next question, please.
All right. I think this will be our final question.
All right.
Kind of wrap things up here. And this question, I think this is something that we kind of see every year, different names, but similar type question that we have every year. CMC16 says, my quarterbacks in a super flex league are Herbert and McCarthy. My receivers are Puka, Rome, and Lat. I have the 103. Do I add receiver depth or do I add Mendoza?
Mendoza.
So here's the thing for me.
JJ's half a quarterback.
JJ is only half a quarterback. So he's 4.5. But with that, if it would all depend on my evaluation, chances are it's Mendoza, but I'm still going best player available. Like if I really truly think that one of those receivers is in a separate tier from Mendoza, I'm not going to take the quarterback just because he's a quarterback, but I have to see them in different tiers. If I see them in the same tier, then I'm gonna revert to Mendoza.
And listen, that's fine and dandy. And just because I haven't dove in all the wide receiver tape, like I watched all of Carnell Tate's career, like he's a very solid stud receiver, right? Like you play all three levels, really good route runner, go up and get the football, good hands. I don't know about Mekhi Lemon or Jordan Tyson. I haven't watched all the tape. I have watched a lot of Fernando Mendoza in 2026. And I can tell you right now from watching Carnell Tate and Mendoza, they're in the same tier. I don't care. Guys, he won Indiana a national championship. He went through it the hard way with the team CP. Like he's got it right. Like he's an NFL starter. And if he's just quarterback 12, 13, he's a top 40 overall scorer. He's quarterback top 25 overall scorer. Like, yeah, you need that player to win. You can't look at a player like that as like, oh, is he like Drake Maye or Jayden Daniels? Like, no, is he a top 15 fantasy football quarterback? Because if he is, then you need that roster that you have. So like, I agree with you, Garrett. Like I always take best player available, but I just don't see how those guys aren't in the same tier. And like, I'm totally okay with like, again, how I mentioned, next year's class is going to be so good you kind of take the receiver. But with that team, how strong his receivers are and his other quarterback, like he has a chance to take a step forward this year. If JJ McCarthy hits and Mendoza hits, if Mendoza's solid, you can go get now you can get a proven receiver taking a chance on, say, Jordan Tyson and his injury history. That's all. And so like for me, it's easily Fernando Mendoza there.
And I'm with you. The only reason I say that is, I'm looking at what are my best possible outcomes. If I really do truly in my heart of hearts believe this receiver is a better asset than Fernando Mendoza, then what I do is I take the receiver. But before I do that, I'm trading who were the three guys again, Ladd or whoever they were. I'm trading one of those guys.
Roma Dunze, Ladd, and somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm taking what's my best total outcome because I'm not sacrificing value. So that's the reason I say that. But there's a very real possibility that you're like, no, Fernando Mendoza is the guy. I have him just as good, if not better, than these players. And
that makes sense. I mean, if Garrett sees a fastball coming right down the middle, it doesn't matter what the coach said. He's not button because that's too good a value. He's not doing it. He's swinging for the fences. So
swinging away.
All right, coach. And it makes sense. And again, remember, like no matter how many podcasts you listen to or how many articles you read, your team is your team in your own ecosystem and your own structure, and you got to do what's best for your team. And it sounds like from the outside looking in, for me, like I'm at the zoo looking inside what you got going on. Like it sounds like Mendoza would be the best fit for your team. Well, that's the thing. And it's the beauty of the game. Like there's so many different paths to go. Like Garrett said, like you could trade now your receiver for a better proven quarterback, right? Like you trade Ladd McConkey for Brock Purdy, and then you could add Mekhi Lemon, right? Like there's so many different ways to go. Like, and that's the hardest part about like taking everybody's like podcasts and Twitter feeds and articles into like, it's just a structure because inside your team, like in your league, there's only so many trades you can make, right? There's certain players aren't available. Some owners won't trade you at all. Some owners won't even respond to trades, let alone make trades, right? Like, and like in your team needs and avenues to go, like not all paths are open to you, right? In every league. Some leagues they are, some they don't. That's why you're in so many different leagues. Like Matt and I are in leagues like that, right? Like it doesn't.
Absolutely.
Yep. Like it's impossible. Like,
pulling teeth trying to get trade, even get anybody chattering about trade back and forth.
Which is weird because like some teams will, then you'll have owners who are like, these teams will trade with each other all the time. And like you send an offer, they don't even respond. Like it's weird like that. So it's like, it's a road you have to navigate. And I think Garrett had said best. You have to like figure out what's your most positive outcome. So with that being said, that was our first regular mailbag show. Like I said, we do that once a month on the Nerd Herd Show. We've been doing that for a year, and it really is some of my favorite episodes. So like, if you enjoyed this, Matt, did you enjoy it?
I love this. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I loved it. If you enjoyed this, hit me up on Twitter, or if you know it as X. I'm at Dynasty Rich. So let me know, because I really would like to do, even on this one, like not Matt's here. Like I love these shows so much that I would love to even throw a couple more of these out. Like I know I told you before, I want to do one in the summer for sure. But I even think like even in season, like, mid-range, let's throw like a big mailbag out there, like 2 episodes of mailbags, like in season, let's get through it and figure it out. Cause like, it really does open up from music to certain player values, to trades, to rookies, to dynasty strategy.
Let us know if any of those music tips hit home. All right.
Yeah. Let me know about that too. I looked into that. If you check out those albums, and if you go out and tweet at me, check out my top 100 music list at Dynasty Rich as well. And let me know what you think. There's so many other good albums, but those are my favorite albums.
So many good albums. Right here, I got a bunch that I like.
Guys, right behind them.
Right behind me.
Next Story and 3 albums. Look at that.
Yeah.
YouTube special.
Adios.